So today I just want to do a quick tip on working with the ArcGIS API 4 for JavaScript and kind of knowing when things are ready inside the API. So what I'm doing here is I have a layer that I'm adding to a map. I'm going to create my map view, and then when I wait for the view's promise to resolve, I'm just going to check to see if that layer has been loaded at this point. So if we come to my application here, I've already actually run it, and you can see here that when I ask if my layer is ready, it's actually loaded as false, meaning that the layer is not loaded at this point. So let's just refresh it, take a look at that again. So there we go. It's false. We don't see the layer show up on the screen at that point. So the layer technically isn't loaded just because the view is ready to go. So the view is ready, but it's not as if all the data is actually available at that point. It's just that the view is ready to start the work to get all the data and stuff. It's made probably some initial calls to start getting the data, but we can't actually see anything on the screen yet. So how do we do some of this stuff? So let's go ahead and come over here. Let's try to watch for loaded, right? Let's see what that kind of gives us. Loaded, and we'll just make a little function here, and I'm just going to say console.log. I'm just going to ask again, can you load me now? Layer dot loaded. All right, looks pretty good. So let's come back over here. Let's go and refresh. Okay, so that's true. Still, nothing visible on the screen when that load is true. Notice that? So let's run it again. Layer that loaded is true, but even the map itself hasn't shown up yet at that point. So okay, so that's not quite ready yet. So what does that mean when the layer is loaded? Well, that means that I have access to the layer at that point. I could actually start querying features on the layer once it's loaded at that point if I really want to. So if I want to start making some query calls to the service, at this point it's available to me. But maybe that's not what I'm looking for. I'm really more concerned about when is that data visible on the screen? How can I know when the map is drawn? So okay, let's try this again. Okay, so maybe what I'm really interested in seeing is when the view updating is complete, meaning that it's false at this point. So watch utils when false, view, I'm gonna watch for updating. Is it updating or updated? Wait a second, hold on. View updating. Yeah, okay. So view updating. You see, even I have to look stuff up sometimes. I forget what I'm doing. Okay, so view updating. Now, when the view updating is false, that means it should no longer be trying to draw anything at all. So at this point, we can now check to see if the layer is loaded, which, you know, pretty confident it's going to be, because how could you draw it if it's not loaded? So how about this? Can you see me now? All right. Okay, so let's come over here, refresh. True. Ah. So there we go. So we actually had it for 2. So for a split second there, the view itself was not updating because the base map was drawn. Then it went back to the layer. Now it's going to start trying to draw the layer. So that's updating again. So we had one intermittent bit of false there for a split second. That's why I got this. And the layer was loaded but wasn't actually drawn. So I'm concerned about this layer. How can I do that? Okay, so actually for the actual, if we're concerned, so think about it this way. So if we're concerned about when that layer view is drawn itself, what we really want to do is we want to watch for the layer view. And if you're not familiar with layer views, I May have covered it in previous videos. If not, I can do it again at some point. Just let me know. But we want the layer view for the layer, and the layer view is basically the visual representation of the layer, because the layer itself doesn't draw anything. It's the layer view that handles all the rendering of the data on the screen. So that's what we're concerned about. So when this promise is resolved, we're going to get a layer view, if I can type. So now at this point, the layer view is what's going to be updating. So the view has multiple updating stages based on the layers that it has in the map. So when one layer gets loaded, we're going to go ahead and update. It's going to have an updating cycle, and it's going to the next layer and the next layer. So there's going to be these intermittent bits there where it's going to be view to updating is going to be false and then true again intermittently. So if you really want to be concerned about when that layer is ready to go and it's visible on the screen, let's do the layer views. Now at this point, we're going to do the same thing that we had done earlier. So when false for the view, and we're going to do the layer view updating. All right. And now at this point, we're going to say console.log. You should see me now. And we'll just do layer.loaded. We already know it's loaded, or else we would never got this far. Alright, so let's do this. Refresh this page. Can you load me now? True. Let's see now, false. You should see me now, true. And we got that. That was true. So that's the way you want to do it. So if you're particularly concerned about the layer view itself, you actually want to check for, use view.whenLayerView to get the actual layer, and then check when that layer view is updating is false, because true means that it's trying to be drawn, updating is true. Updating false means, hey, I'm drawn, I'm ready to go. Do with me as you wish. Alright, so I also want to point out that there is an event on the view itself that if you want to listen for, so you can do view.on. I believe it's called layer view create. And it's going to give you the, I believe it's a target. So at that point, oops, console.log target, because I believe what you're going to get is a target, and that target's going to have a layer view. Oops, cannot type today. Oh my gosh. There we go. Layer view not created. Created. Wow. My typing skills are off the charts today, people. Alright, so we had a layer view that was created. So that was one. We should have another one coming up. I got a little bit of network issues going on here. Next layer view created. And there we go. So again, in that case, what we saw is that the layer view itself is created, but you still need to watch for when the updating property is false. So this is how you get access to the different layer views. And this is going to give you the layer and the layer view that was created for that layer. So you can actually listen for that event and gather all layer views that you want. There's also a property on the view called all layer views. This is a collection of layers, so you can iterate through them. Do a for each, and that's going to give me, I'll just do this. That's going to give me all the layer views that are part of my view at that point. Alright, so that's a quick tip on how you can access the layers of layer views, and different ways you can find out when the actual view you're looking at is different parts of it are done loading, depending what your main concern is when things are done loading and updating and visible on the screen. Thank you.